Welcome to 21st Sports, and we're talking the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears in their Week 4 matchup played October 2nd, 2016, as these two NFC North Division rivals went at it. And this one was some smash mouth football. It was kind of ugly, but the Bears really dominated this game, and they got their first win of the season. They started out with Brian Hoyer hooking up with Eddie Royal for a 4-yard touchdown. That put the Bears up 7-0. That'd be the only score in the first quarter. Then in the second, Matt Prater hit a 50-yard field goal, and that put the Lions on the board with the score now Chicago 7, Detroit 3. So that would be the score at the intermission. Then at the third quarter, Prater would hit a 21-yard field goal, and that would make it a 1-point game with the Bears still up 7-6. Of course, that 21-yard field goal, they're right there in the red zone, leaving points on the field, having to settle for 3. And they would end up losing by 3 as they left those 4 points on the field. But still in the third quarter, Hoyer threw his second touchdown pass of the game, this one to Zach Miller, a 6-yard touchdown. And now it was 14-6 as the Bears extended their lead to 8 points. So then in the fourth quarter, Bears up by 8, and they add 3 more to their score with a 25-yard field goal by Connor Barth. Again, leaving some points on the field as they were right there in the red zone. So both teams leaving some points on the field, having to settle for field goals in the red zone. But the Bears now were up by 11 points with the score Chicago 17, Detroit 6. But then on the other side of the 2-minute warning, Andre Roberts returns a punt 85 yards for the score, getting the Lions into the end zone for the first time in this game, as that Bears defense was dominating Detroit. But the special teams put the points on the board. Stafford then hooked up with Golden Tate for the 2-point conversion, and it was all of a sudden a 3-point game. The Bears would recover an onside kick attempt, and they would hold on to win this one as they got their first W of 2016. So 17-14, the final score. And really, it was all Bears. The Lions really couldn't get anything going offensively. They didn't put any touchdowns on the board on offense. Their one touchdown coming at the very end of the game with that special teams play. But you look at Brian Hoyer looking good. He's actually, I would say, a better fit for the Bears than Cutler, at least the way he was playing today. 28 for 36, 302 yards for Hoyer and 2 touchdowns. Howard had 23 carries for 111 yards for Chicago, and Eddie Royal had 7 receptions for 111 yards receiving and a touchdown. And for the Lions, Stafford 23 for 36, just 213 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The leading rusher for Detroit was Theo Riddick with 11 carries for just 31 yards. And Jones was the leading receiver with 5 receptions for 74 yards for the Lions. Of course, Royal, was the leading receiver for the game. But on defense, Hicks had a sack for Chicago, and then Glenn and Hall both had 1 interception apiece for the Bears. And then for the Lions, Slay had a sack. And we look at the first downs, 23-16 in favor of the Bears. On third downs, the Bears 5 for 13, 38% conversion rate. They went for it once on fourth, did not convert. And for Detroit, 4 for 12, just 33% on third downs, as both teams really weren't converting those third downs. But you look at the penalties in this game, 10 penalties against the Lions, 76 penalty yards, 8 penalties against the Bears for 55 yards. As the Lions making mistakes with the interceptions and with the penalties. And then we look at the red zone. Detroit was 0 for 1. They made 1 trip to the red zone, and they did not get a touchdown. They had to settle for the field goal. And the Bears 2 for 3 in the red zone, 66%. As they were getting it into the end zone. Of course, they did settle for the 1 field goal in the red zone and then the 2 touchdowns. And then we look at the time of possession, 33 minutes, 14 seconds for Chicago, 26 minutes, 46 seconds for Detroit. So Chicago coming out pretty strong in this game. and really handling the Lions, shutting them down on offense. You got to wonder what is going on with Detroit. A big loss for the Lions. They had a chance to get to 500 with a game here against the Bears, the winless Bears, before the game started, but instead now both teams share a 1-3 record as the Bears get in the win column for the first time this season, and it looks like both of these teams are going to be pretty much basement dwellers there in the North, and it's going to be down to the Vikings and the Packers, but you never know. Anything can happen. There's still plenty of football left to play. If the Bears, if they can play like this, they continue to play good defense the way they're playing, Hoyer keeps playing the way he's playing, there's a potential for Chicago to turn this thing around. Detroit, on the other hand, they seem to be regressing, and I don't know what is going on with the Lions, but let me know what you think in the comments section below. Which plays and performances stuck out to you? Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend and enjoyed all the sports.